the island. No sign of that boat yet.
It's still very early.
Oh, I know. Still, the fellow brings the milk and the bread and all that. I should have thought he'd have been here before this.
Let's not bother about breakfast.
How's the weather looking?
We went to freshened up a bit. Rather a mackerel sky. Old boy on the train yesterday said we were due for dirty weather. I shouldn't wonder if he wasn't right.
What can this man Narracott be doing? I wish he would come. The sooner we get off this island, the better. It's absurd not keeping a boat on the island.
No proper harbor. If the wind came to blow from the southeast, a boat would be dashed to pieces against the rocks.
But a boat would always be able to make us from the mainland.
No, Miss Brent, that's just what it wouldn't.
You mean that we should be cut off from the land?
Yes, condensed milk and riveted and tin and stuff until the gales blow itself out. But don't you worry yourself. The sea's only a bit choppy.
The pleasures of being on an island are rather overrated.
Knowing the way the house is built slap up against the cliff. Can't see the mainland until you climb to the top. Should we go up there again?
It's no good, Doctor. A watched pot never boils. There wasn't a sign of any boat putting out when we were up there just now.
What can this man Narracott be doing?
They're all like that in Devon. Never hurry themselves.
And where's Rogers? He had to be about.
If you ask me, Master Rogers was pretty badly rattled last night.
Oh, I know. Ghastly, the whole thing.
Got the wind up properly, I'd take an even bet he and his wife did do that old lady in.
You really think so?
Well, I've never seen a man more scared. Guilty, I should say.
Fantastic. The whole thing is fantastic.
I say, suppose he's hopped it.
Who, Rogers? I don't see how he could. There's no boat on the island. You just said so.
Yes, but I've been thinking. We've only his word for that. What if there is one, and he's nipped off on it first thing?
No, he wouldn't be allowed to leave the island.
Sleep well, General.
Yes, I dreamed.
I don't wonder at that.
I dreamed of Leslie, my wife, you know.
Yes. I wish Narracott would come.
Well, now who's Narracott?
The bloke who brought us over yesterday afternoon.
Was it really only yesterday?
Yes, I feel like that too, General. Batty gramophone records, suicides, just about all a man can stand. I shan't be sorry to see us back at Soldier Island, I give you my word.
So you don't understand? Oh, how strange.
What's that, General?
I don't like the look of him.
I reckon young Marston's suicide must have been a pretty bad shock to him. He looks years older.
Oh, where is that poor young fellow now?
In the study. Been there myself.
Doctor, do you think it was suicide?
What else could it be?
I don't know, but suicide.
You know, I had a pretty funny feeling in the night. It's Mr. Unknown Owen. Suppose he's on the island. Rogers may know, or he may have told him to say so. It's a pretty nasty thought, isn't it?
But would anyone have been able to tamper with Marston's drink without our seeing him?
Well, I was just standing up here. Anybody could have slipped a dollop of cyanide in it, if they'd wanted to.
Really?
Doctor, you have to come. It's my wife, please. You have to go see her.
Oh, is she really under the weather still?
She's...
You won't leave the island without me, will you?
Oh, I wish that boat would come. I hate this place.
Yes, the sooner we notify the police, the better.
The police?
The police have to be notified in case of suicide.
Oh, yes, of course.
What's going on here? No sign of any breakfast?
I'm hungry, General. Feeling like breakfast.
Leslie, my dear.
No, I'm Vera Claythorne.
Oh, yes, of course. Forgive me. I mistook you for my wife, you see.
I thought your wife was dead long ago.
Yes, I did too, but you see, I was wrong. Well, she's here. Here on this island.
Good morning.
Good morning, Captain Lombard.
Good morning. Boat here yet?
No.
Bit late, isn't it?
Yes.
Good morning. Too bad. We could have had a swim before breakfast. Too bad all this.
Too bad you overslept yourself.
You must have good nerves to sleep like that.
Nothing makes me lose my sleep.
Didn't dream of African natives, did you, by any chance?
No. Did you dream of convicts on Dartmoor?
Now look here, Captain Lombard. I don't think that's funny.
Well, you started it, you know. What about breakfast? I'm hungry.
The whole domestic staff seems to have gone on strike.
Oh, well, we can always forage for ourselves.
Hello, that's strange.
What?
Remember how we found one of these little guys smashed last night?
Yes, that ought to leave 9.
That ought to leave 9. I'm certain there were 10 when we arrived.
Well,
Well, there were only 8.
so there are.
It seems queer, don't you think?
Probably. There were only 9 to begin with. We assumed there were 10 because of the rhyme. Hello, Armstrong. What's the matter?
Mrs. Rogers is dead.
No. Ow.
Died in her sleep. Rogers thought that she was still under the influence of the sleeping draught I gave her. He came down and lit the kitchen fire to his room, and was surprised that he hadn't seen her. He went upstairs looking for her. Surprised by the looks of her and went hunting for me. She's been dead about 5 hours, I should say.
What was it? Heart?
Possible to say. It may have been.
After all, she had a pretty bad shock last night.
Yes.
Could she have been poisoned
It is perfectly possible.
with the same stuff as Marston?
No, not cyanide. It would have had to have been a hypnotic or narcotic. One of the barbiturates or florals. Something like that.
You gave her some sleeping powders last night, didn't you, Doctor?
Yes, I gave her a mild dose of luminol.
Didn't give her too much, did you?
Certainly not. What do you mean?
All right, no offense, no offense. I just thought that perhaps if she'd had a weak heart.
The amount I gave her could not have hurt anyone.
So what exactly did happen?
Impossible to say without an autopsy.
If this were to happen in the case of one of your private patients, what would have been your procedure?
Without any previous knowledge of the woman's state of health, I could certainly not give a certificate.
She was a rather nervous-looking creature, and she had a bad fright last night. Perhaps it was heart failure.
Well, her heart certainly failed to beat, but what caused it to fail?
Conscience.
What exactly do you mean by that, Miss Brent?
You all heard. She was accused, together with her husband, of having deliberately murdered her former employer, an old lady.
And do you believe that is true, Miss Brent?
Certainly. You all saw her last night. She broke down completely and fainted. The shock of having her wickedness brought home to her was too much for her. She literally died of fear.
It is a possible theory. One cannot adopt it without more exact knowledge of the woman's state of health. If there was a latent cardiac
Call it, if
weakness...
you prefer, an act of God.
Oh, no, Miss Brent.
Do you regard it as impossible that a sinner should be struck down by the wrath of God? I do not.
Miss Brent, in my experience of ill-doing, Providence has often left the task of conviction and chastisement to us mortals. The process is often fraught with difficulties. There are no shortcuts.
Let's be practical. What did the woman have to eat and drink last night after she went to bed?
Nothing.
Nothing at all? Not even a cup of tea? Or a glass of water? How about you she had a cup of tea? That's what it always does.
Rogers assures me that she had nothing whatever.
You might say so.
So that's your idea?
Well, you all heard the accusations last night. What if it's true? Miss Brent thinks it is, for one. He and his missus did the old lady in. They're feeling quite safe and happy about it.
Happy?
Well, they know there's no immediate danger to themselves. Then, last night, some lunatic goes and spills beans. What happens is the woman cracks, goes to pieces. Did you see him hanging around her when she was coming to? Not all husbandly solicitude? Not in your sweet life. He was like a cat on hot bricks. And that's the position. They've done a murder and got away with it. But if it's all going to be raked up again now, if the woman will give the show away, she hadn't got the nerve to brazen it out. She's a living danger to her husband, that's what she is. And him, he's all right. He'll go online till the cows come home. But her, he can't be quite sure of her, so what does he do? He slips a nice little dollop of something into a nice cup of tea, and then, when she's had it, he washes the cup and saucer and tells the doctor she ain't had nothing.
But that's impossible. A man wouldn't do that. Not to his wife.
You'd be surprised, Miss Claythorne, what some husbands would do.
Excuse me, miss. I'm just getting on with breakfast. I'm not much of a hand as a cook, I'm afraid. It's lunch that's worrying me. Would cold gelatin and tuna be satisfactory? And I think I could manage some fried potatoes, and some tinned fruit, and cheese and biscuits.
That would be fine, Rogers.
Lunch? Lunch? We shan't be here for lunch. And when's that blasted boat coming?
Mr. Block!
What?
Oh, pardon me, sir, but there'll be no boat coming.
What?
Fred Narracott always comes before 8. Is there anything else I can get for you, miss?
No, thank you, Rogers.
And it's not Rogers. His wife lying dead upstairs, and there he's cooking breakfast and calmly talking about lunch. Now he says the boat won't be coming. How the devil does he know?
Mr. Bloor,
What?
but don't you see? He's dazed. He's just carrying on automatically like any good servant would. It's pathetic, really.
He's pulling a fast one, if you ask me.
The really significant thing is the failure of the boat to arrive. It means we're being deliberately cut off.
That's very little time.
What's that, General?
Very little time. We mustn't waste it talking about things that don't matter.
Why do you think Narcot hasn't turned up?
I think the ubiquitous Mr. Owen has given orders.
You mean, told him it's a practical joke or something of that kind?
He'd never have fallen for that, would he?
Why not? Soldier Island's got a reputation for people having crazy parties. This is just one more crazy idea, that's all. Narcot knows there's plenty of food and drink on the island. He probably thinks it's all a huge joke.
But could we light a bonfire at the top of the island so they'd see?
That's probably been provided against. All signals to be ignored.
But can't we do something?
Oh yes, we can do something. We can find the funny gentleman who staged this little joke, Mr. Unknown Owen. I'll bet you anything you like he's somewhere on the island. And the sooner we get a hold of him, the better. Because in my opinion, he's mad as a hatter and dangerous as a rattlesnake.
Hardly a very good simile, Captain Lombard. At least a rattlesnake gives warning of its approach.
Warning? Yes, that's our warning. 10 little soldier boys. There were 10 of us after Narcot went, weren't there? 10 little soldier boys going out to dine. One went and choked himself, and then there were 9. Marston choked himself, didn't he? And then 9 little soldier boys sat up very late. One of us left himself, and then there were 8. Otis left himself. That last part fits Mrs. Rogers rather well, doesn't it?
But you don't think that he means to kill us all?
Yes, I think he does.
And each one thinks the rhyme.
No, it's impossible. It's coincidence. It must be coincidence.
There are only 8 little soldier boys here. I suppose that's a coincidence too. What do you think, Laura?
I don't like it.
This is terrible. There's nobody on the island.
None of us will ever leave this island.
Can't somebody shut up, Grandpa?
Don't you agree with me, Sir Lawrence?
Up to a point, yes.
Good. Then the sooner we get to work, the better. Come on, Armstrong. Come on, Laura. We'll make short work of it.
I'm ready. Nobody's got a revolver by any chance.
I've got one.
Always carry that about with you.
Usually. I've been in some tight places, you know.
Oh. Well, you've probably never been in a tighter place than you are today. If there's a dangerous homicidal maniac hiding somewhere on the island, he's probably got a whole arsenal on him, and he'll use it.
You may be wrong there, Bloor. Many homicidal maniacs are very quiet, unassuming people.
Delightful fellows.
We'd never guessed there was anything wrong with them.
If Mr. Unknown Owen turns out to be one of that sort, Doctor, we'll leave him to you. Now then, I suggest we make a start. I suggest Captain Lombard search the house while we do the island.
Right. House ought to be easy. No sliding panels or secret doors.
Mind he doesn't get you before you get him.
Don't worry. But you two had better stick together. Remember, one got left behind.
Come on, Armstrong.
Very energetic young man, Captain Lombard.
But don't you think he's right? If there is someone on the island, then they're bound to find him.
I think this problem requires brains rather than brawn.
Where are you going?
To go outside and sit and think in the sun, my dear young lady.
Now, where did I put that skein of wool? Did you leave it upstairs? Would you like me to see it and go and see if I can fetch it? No, I'll go. I know it's likely to be. I'm glad Captain Lombard brought that revolver.
But we're all wasting time. Wasting time.
Do you think?
Yes, my dear. It's much better to sit here quietly and wait.
Wait for what?
But for the end, of course. I do wish I could find Leslie.
Your wife?
Yes. Yes, I wish you'd known her. She was so pretty.
Was she?
Yes. I loved her very much. Of course, I was a lot older than she was. She was 27. But that Arthur Richmond was 26. They used to talk together of plays and music, and she used to tease him, but I was pleased. I thought you took a motherly interest in the boy. Fool, wasn't I? No fool like an old fool. Exactly like a book the way I found out. Well, when we were out in France, she wrote to us, and she put the letters in the wrong envelope, so I knew.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. No, please, it was a long time ago. But I loved her very much, and I believed in her. But I never said anything to him. I let it all gather inside here. A slow, murderous rage. That young hypocrite, I liked the boy, I trusted him!
I wonder what the others do.
I sent him to his death.
Oh.
You see, it was quite easy. Mistakes were being made all the time. All anyone could ever say was that I'd lost my nerve, made a blunder, and sacrificed one of my best men. Yes, it was quite easy. Leslie never found out. I never told her I knew, but somehow nothing was ever quite real anymore. She died of pneumonia 3 years later. She had a heart-shaped face and grey eyes and brown hair.
Oh, don't, please!
Yes, I suppose it was murder. Curious murder, and I've always been such a law-abiding man. It didn't feel like it at the time, you see, or serves him right, is what I thought, but after, well, you know.
What do you mean?
I thought you'd understand. I thought you would. I thought you'd be glad, too, that the end was coming. We're all going to die, you know.
I don't know.
Well, you're very young. You haven't got to that yet. The relief, the blessed relief when you know you've done with it all.
General.
No, please. Please don't talk to me like that. I want to go outside and wait. Wait for Leslie to come for me.
Oh, I'm frightened. I'm very, very frightened.
All correct.